when I entered into Normandale, and they told me that my communications professor, I believe his name was Mr. Johnson, Professor Johnson, was one professor who had just been hired, I thought, recently, or, you know, within the last 4 or 5 years of me being there, and that they were said to be a very hard school to get into as a professor, and a black professor. And I thought to myself at that time, I wonder, you know, what the credentials was that you needed, or was it the area, you know, wasn't necessarily something I really wanted to bring up the political fight about, because I didn't apply to that college to work there. But in theory, to be a college professor, it would seem like you would have to have like some super credentials to be a professor. And then to be equal, it would seem like you would have to have an equal balance so that you've got a good perspective on life and you're just not teaching it one view, one way, unless you've got a fair professor who just teaches it so equal that you're not quite sure what side of the fence they're on. Because like me, they play the devil's advocate, and they're always leaving you unsure of what they believe because they're always on the fence. So you can't really get a grip on what it is that they do or don't think. So, you know, in theory, if that particular college at that time wasn't hiring black people, it would beg to question why they just didn't call the NAACP and then fight to get tenure in there, and then from there go somewhere else, because it would seem like you would be trying to work at a black college where there is black prestige, or just, you know, you want to teach, right? You just want a college job. So like me, when I'm looking for a job, I'm not always hired, you know, and I didn't always look at rainbow, no offense, as being prejudiced until I got in there. And then when I started working, I started to notice that first everybody was family, you know, related one way or the other. And then I noticed that they were all hiring family and friends, which created an environment to make you feel as if it was prejudice, but it wouldn't have been the name on the marquee per se, rainbows for me. It would have been through the hiring resources, which would have been the human resource department, and then everybody they hired thereafter based on the people that was in the resource department picking who got hired.